interesting, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I think it would have been cool if we'd have actually had some time to really mess around with it.
Oh, all right. So it wasn't that you guys were like, let's do something else. It was like you ran out of time to play it.
Yeah, we were
All
sitting in
right.
line for something. I don't even remember what the hell it was.
Yeah. I actually, when the last PAX I went to, ended up playing a couple of games of, the hell is it called? Gloom? It was it was this really weird card game. Very strategic. But
Right.
it was fun. It was a lot of card interaction. So it was very much, you play this card to act off of this card, and when this happens, then you can trigger this ability in this card, and it was pretty cool. The one that we were playing was a Cthulhu themed version. So
Oh, cool.
yeah. Yeah,
Can't
no,
go wrong with that.
right. Alright, where's all my crap? Let me pull up you guys. Alright. I guess all the locks don't make a difference anymore, huh? Probably. Alright. Ooh. Dave changed Agnem's profile picture.
Oh yeah, back to the original.
Yeah. I like the Dorian picture too, that's nice.
Oh, thank you.
Alright. Alright, it's a little early, but do you guys want to start?
Whenever you're ready.
Do we actually have everybody?
Al's been kind of quiet, but I'm not sure.
So's Bessie.
Al was doing Windows updates, but he's back in the call, so...
Yeah, with a broken picture.
No, it looks fine on my end.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
I get a broken image.
I've been eating crackers and I chew really loud, so...
Yeah,
You're muting your microphone then.
Yep.
To be fair, you eat donuts very loud, so...
Didn't I get bitched at once for
marshmallows loud.
eating Oreos too loud or something?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Oreo is a cookie, so I can kind of understand that.
True.
If you were just eating the cream, then it would be weird. And now Al's muted. Now Al's not muted. Now Al's muted. Now Al's not muted. Now it's, all right, now he's just fucking with me.
Al, if you can hear us, mute yourself 3 times. 1,
1,
2,
3.
3. Yay! Oh, that's 4. Damn it.
Nope, never mind. So apparently he can't hear us. It's all just random. Oh, Al's screaming in text. I take it this is not a good thing.
Well, he's with us in spirit.
He is. And you guys are in the Shadowfell, so technically... Oh, I hear Al. No, I don't.
No, I was going to say, you're the only one.
I could have sworn I heard him.
I'm going to hedge my bets and take out a couple of dice. I don't know if we need them, but...
Always possible. Looks like they're fine. Do we finally have a Dungeonscape website? We do! Hey, look at that. The first fully integrated digital companion app of its kind, Dungeonscape is exclusively designed for the 5th edition of the D&D tabletop role-playing game. Combining rules, reference, and tools into one place, you can manage your game with ease at the table as a DM or as a player.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Al, you with us?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
So,
All right.
Awesome.
Yay.
I don't know. My mic, the mic I have, it goes from orange to blue to mute itself,
Yeah.
and it was showing that it was picking up my words, but
Mhm.
they were not getting through to you guys.
Very weird.
Maybe
Hence,
the
I was
updates knock
muting
something
and
out.
unmuting. Maybe, I don't know. I ended up having to go into settings. Usually, it just goes and automatically picks the mic, but I had to go in and physically choose this mic this time around. So
Wow.
I don't know.
Might have cleared out all your presets or something like that.
Yeah, stupid Windows.
I agree. Always
I'm just
letting
gonna run
sunlight.
Linux from now on.
You know what? If I could program, I would think about that. Except then
My
you
boss.
couldn't run any programs. You'd be
Pretty. I mean, yeah, you'd have to run a Windows, whatever.
You'd have to run a shell.
My boss, yeah, my boss is very big into Linux, so he's been trying to convince me. And I'm like, well, I have no idea what you're talking about half the time, so no.
Well, you just learn on the fly. You just got to get in there and give it a shot.
Well, they do have versions of Linux that have GUIs, so it's not all bad.
Just mostly bad.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Come on, man. Glass half full.
I think my favorite comic for that is it shows three glasses, and I'm half full. I am half empty. I think this is piss.
If you really think about it, no glass is ever anything but entirely full, because what you take away in liquid is always filled with air.
Mm-hmm.
See? It's the ultimate. If you want to be the ultimate optimist, your glass is always full.
Oh, it's a good thing I don't want to be that. Because I would end up thirsty half as fast.
You never be able to fill your glass up because you'd say, I can't, it's already full. And you'd end up dying of dehydration. Or you just have to pour it directly into your mouth.
Now, is that like the ultimate pessimist trying to be the ultimate optimist?
Possibly.
Well, as a
Glass is
Zen
totally
thing,
full, so I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
as a Zen thing, I've got an empty wooden bowl on my bookcase here
Yeah.
that I could see all the time. Doesn't really help, but it's there.
It just pisses you off constantly because you're like, I could put something in you. You would hold my keys very well.
I think it's like a salad bowl from Target, but it looks the part. You know?
There you go. You should burn like some random Chinese symbol into the bottom of it
There you go.
so that it looks cool. Just go to Toys R Us, get yourself a wood burning kit.
Yeah.
You're good to go.
Or get some ink and a calligraphy set and paint some shit on the outside of it.
There you go. You're taking it a step further than I even imagined it could happen.
Yeah, brand new horizons.
See, there you go. All right. Let's do something. What that something is, I have absolutely no idea, but I'm sure something will come of it. All right. So, what the hell did you guys do last time? You did
Walked
died.
around for a long time.
Walked around a ton. If you guys weren't like semi-spirits, then you would have lost so much weight. You'd have like calves like ham hocks. So yeah, so you guys did the second temple, which was the bathing one, where Leo suspiciously turned into Matthew McConaughey.
And the dude.
And the dude, yeah. It was a weird mixture of the two.
Is a love child.
Yep. Shirtless, complaining about his rug. It was weird.
Yep.
Playing the bongos while bowling. So you bathed in the little channel thing. Then you went to the third temple, which was that horseshoed one where the monks were whipping themselves, and you found a small gem raven skull in the bottom of a pit. And
Which I have in my secret pocket.
there you go. That's disgusting. Dorian filled that up with water so that Russ Leo could swim down, grab it, and swim back up. And then the fourth one you found was the giant temple that was empty, but then there were the two smaller ones that were full of books and scrolls and scriptures and everything. You spent about a couple hours there, and you came away with a few books and a few scrolls, and you made your way around in a loop where you made your way back to the first temple, and then you ended up following one of the white paths all the way north until you came to to be in front of a fifth temple, and I believe that is where we ended. So, everyone ready?
Sure thing.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, all right, we got everyone. Sweet. Okay. So, your journey up the white path ended up taking you quite a little bit, but finally, after all of the paths had converged and you were in the straight path north.
Oh,
Yeah.
Booth.
Yes.
There's something weird that he should have corrected, and he doesn't know why they didn't. Doesn't make sense. Needs to be corrected.
What?
You remind Boos. There is something weird that he should have corrected, and he doesn't know why they didn't. Doesn't make sense. Needs to be corrected.
Oh. Thank you.
You're welcome. I
Okay.
told you. I put the note down for a reason.
Hold on to that note because that'll happen afterwards. It'll probably be after this session.
Okay.
So, all right, good call though. Good on you. That was even too vague for me at first. I don't know why I tell people to give me such vague clues.
I don't know. I wrote down what you told us verbatim, so there you go.
Yeah, I know it's my fault, but I got it. It caught on. It made it through.
Excellent.
There you go. Okay, so you guys were walking north along the white path when finally and fairly suddenly, like the others, you step through the mist and you are confronted by a large and lavishly detailed archway, which has sigils that grow dimly on the ground across the threshold. It sits within a wall that runs east and west, and it surrounds a very large plaza. And you can see through the archway and also rising up above the walls itself. In the middle rises a steeped pyramid, four tall obelisks standing with four tall obelisks that stand at each corner. And then resting at the top of the pyramid is a towering pillar of pure silvery black crystal. And you can see at the opposite end of this plaza is a large stone chamber with several narrow windows. What would you like to do?
Do we see anybody?
You do not.
Do we hear anybody?
Give me a perception check.
I can do that.
Know anybody?
I rolled the 19 plus 7, I believe, so 26.
All right. So the only thing that you hear is the very slow and calm babbling of water.
Do I see said water?
No, you do not. At least not from the outside.
Okay. Do you guys see anything? I don't see anybody, but I hear some water. Do you think it could be the same water from that other temple? Like, do you think that little stream or whatever connects all these temples together?
Could be. My guess would be somebody's in the pyramid, but that's all I got.
Yeah, well, if there's nobody out here, I guess we should go ahead. But just we should probably all be on guard.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Agreed.
Well, Marm's gonna close the book and be like, "What?"
We're gonna go towards the pyramid, Marm. That and there's a chamber over there, or enclosure that we should probably check out.
Okay. All right. Let's go.
Alright, well, why don't we check out the enclosure first? Real quick, is the enclosure closer to us?
Booze.
Food.
Did we lose him already?
Seriously?
Probably.
Dude, we just started. The enclosure is totally closer to us,
Yep.
There it goes.
He's gone.
so we should check out that first.
Yeah, we go to
that's
that first.
fine.
So just whatever's closer, basically.
So we go to that
Mhm.
first, and we
And
go
inside is the Raven Queen.
That
And
would
she's
be very
got beer.
convenient.
and she kills us.
Yes.
But not
But it
before
brings us
we
back to the
drink lots of
material
beer.
All right. Who hacked my Google Drive and is looking at my campaign notes?
What?
I didn't hear you. All I heard was, and she kills us. Okay, so chamber is on the opposite side of the pyramid.
Okay, so farther away from us then.
That would be opposite, yes.
Okay. Well, I say we check out the pyramid first and then check out the enclosure because it's farther.
Fair enough. Although,
But-
if the pyramid is really large or really deep, it might serve us better to make sure that there's nobody hiding in that little enclosure before we enter the pyramid.
And it may also be faster to search the enclosure before we go into the larger pyramid.
That makes sense. All right. Let's head to the enclosure then.
Alright.
And I'm just gonna start walking towards the enclosure.
All right, so you're gonna walk through the gate into the plaza and around the pyramid.
Correct.
All right. So you guys walk through the gateway, and when you enter the plaza, you can actually see Galen and everybody else. But the sound of water that you heard is actually a small, maybe 1.5 foot wide stream that's been built just on the inside of the wall that runs all three sides.
Okay.
And this plaza too is completely sealed off. So there's the wall that runs east to west, and then obviously when that ends, there's 2 walls on either side that connect to the rock face on the opposite corner. And so you guys walk in, you walk around the pyramid, and when you walk to the other side, it's just the side of the mountain right here has kind of been carved away to form this slight dome, and just above it are those small, narrow windows that you can see. But what you do not see is any type of door or any facing such as would lead you to an entrance.
How high up are the windows?
Vary, probably about 60, 65 feet up.
Alright. Never mind.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna reach those.
And even if you did reach them, they're only about a foot wide. So the chances that you'd actually be able to fit through them is slim to none.
I might be able to wriggle through there.
That's a good point. Galen might be able to get it.
Yeah, I'm getting you up there.
Alright, Dorn, you want to try to throw him up there?
No, I didn't say throw me up there. I just said maybe I could, I mean,
Oh, maybe if we were to both throw at the same time, we might be able to get him up high enough that he could grab a hold of the frame.
no, I didn't mean that either.
Okay.
I'm just saying if they were lower on the ground, I might be able to wriggle my way. Not that I'm not like a big guy for a gnome, but I'm just saying.
You're slim-hipped.
Well, my mother had good birthing hips. At least that's what my dad said.
I can attest. Yeah, I can attest to that. So,
Wait, what?
Nothing. Okay, so pyramid. Since we can't get in this.
I guess so.
Should we walk around? I mean, is there a door somewhere?
No.
Oh. Okay, well maybe we should check out the pyramid.
Yeah. Let's check out the pyramid. You guys know that there's many different types of pyramids, right? It could be used for any number of things. So we should definitely, like you said, be on the lookout.
Exactly.
Could be for keeping people buried. It could be for homage to something, or it could be for sacrifices. I mean, granted, we're already pretty much dead, so it doesn't really matter at this point. But it could just be about anything. So let's go find out.
Okay then.
So, I'm gonna start walking towards the pyramid. Now, are there any entrances to the pyramid on ground level, or is there staircases leading up to entrances, or?
So on the three sides that you've seen, at least, you haven't seen any entrances. However, the entire pyramid is basically one large staircase.
Alright. Leading up to that, what was it, silvery black crystal spire or something like that at the top?
Yep.
Alright, I want to walk around to the only side that we haven't seen yet. Is there any change?
Nope.
Alright, well, it looks like we're climbing.
Alright.
I just want to check out what that crystal thing is up at the top. It looks kind of important. So, I'm just going to start climbing.
All right. How about the rest of you?
Same.
Follow.
Mhm.
Yep.
All right. So you begin to walk your way up the pyramid then, and there's no climbing necessary. It's not like these are 3 foot tall stones. They're pretty much made for. They're somewhat large stairs, but something that at least the three of you can climb fairly easily, can walk fairly easily, and Galen might have to take 2 steps at a time. So. But overall, not that bad. So you guys begin to walk up, and once you get near the top, you're probably only about 3 or 4 stairs away, a figure appears at the top of the steps, and it is the same woman that greeted you upon your arrival at Zvomarana.
Well,
Greetings.
And she says, "You have performed all of the necessary tasks to continue on with your pilgrimage." And at that point, she spreads her arms, but not in a welcoming gesture. She kind of does it as if she's pushing the air away from her body forcefully. And when she does that, you can actually see that the thin layer of mist that covered the plaza, and quickly turning around, you can see that all of the mist that surrounded the temple lifts, and as if, her gesture pushed it away. And it clears the entire plateau that you've been going on. And in fact, it actually clears the entire area, as now from this height, you can actually see all of Latherna and all of its cold and tundrous glory.
Not to sound disrespectful, but couldn't you have done that before we started?
And with that, she actually gestures to the ground. So she's kind of standing right at the top stair. And so she turns around a little bit and she gestures to the ground, and you guys can see that surrounding the large stone pillar that's in the middle, the crystal, the stone begins to churn, and a sigil of blue lights begins to kind of slowly circle around the crystal.
I take a step back.
Yeah. And she says, "The Fate Stone will give you passage to the palace, where you will be able to request counsel with the Queen." And when she says that, she waves her hand towards the giant crystal.
Well, when she pushes the mist away, Galen kind of looks all around, left and right, and kind of does a slow turn and looks around.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks back around and he sees the glowing thing. He's like, "Oh shit! Did you guys see that?"
Yeah.
It's fairly hard to miss, Galen.
Oh, because I was looking, the other way with the mist, and you could see. Did you see over there? I mean, you could see shit. You could see really far now.
Yeah. Okay,
Marm's
so...
is standing. Oh, good.
No, go for it.
Marm's just going to stand slightly squinty-eyed, kind of looking shrewdly at her and go, "The last time we used something that looked even remotely like this, we ended up here. So, you sure that this is going to take us where we need to go and not just, a slightly darker plane of existence?"
And she simply stands there kind of, with that same outstretched gesture towards the stone.
We really don't have much of a choice.
Well, we don't really have much of a choice, but what are we supposed to do?
Well, we're gonna go see the Queen, right? I mean,
No, I get that, but are we supposed to put our hands on the crystal or put our hands on the ground, or what are we supposed to do with that?
Maybe we walk into it, or over it, or through it.
Yeah, let's go, I guess.
I'm gonna turn to her and I'm gonna be like, what are we supposed to do?
And she just continues to stand there in the gesture towards the stone.
All right,
And
let's go.
Marm starts walking forward.
Alright. I'm gonna start walking forward too. I'm just gonna put my hand on the crystal.
Okay. And as soon as Leo puts his hand on the crystal, pretty much you hear this, and he disappears in a very thin puff of bluish white smoke.
All right. Marm's just gonna walk headlong into it.
All right. You're gonna headbutt the stone. So as soon as Marmalek headbutts the stone, you hear a poof, and he disappears into the same smoke.
Might as well. So I'm going to walk up and put my hand on the stone.
All right, and
And Galen walks up, does the same thing. He touches it with his index finger, reaches out real slow and just kind of touches it with his finger.
nice. And when Galen touches it, you get an extra long poof. All right. So when you touch the stone, a dim blue light overtakes you, then just as swiftly dissipates. And when the light dissipates, you find yourself in a wide court. In the middle stands a tall stone column, while 4 similar though smaller columns sit at each corner. On either side of the plaza are terraces that are supported by pillars. If you look above, you see the swirl of green light through which you can occasionally spy the body of a waiting soul. At the far end of the court, a wide set of stairs are flanked by braziers, burning with a bright blue flame. The stairs rise to a platform with a dark throne. Lounging in the throne is a large, though slender figure cloaked in shadow. The only color that shows through the darkness is a thin silver crown.
Well,
And basically, Leo is the first to appear in the court, and soon after that, you hear kind of a next to you, and Marmalek appears, and then a and Dorian and Galen are around you as well.
I'm gonna lean over to Dorian and I go, "Well, you're the one that knows the gods. Is that one of them?"
The crown would indicate the Raven Queen. At least I would assume. Unfortunately, she was not one of the gods I was taught about. We only really knew about the allies and enemies of Pelor, and the Raven Queen was never mentioned among them. Regardless, though, if this turns out to be her, we must speak with her very respectfully and be very careful with what we say. We are in her realm, and any way that we may insult her could be detrimental to what it is we're trying to accomplish here.
I'm
If you turn, God.
gonna turn towards Galen. Be like, "You should probably just not talk."
So when you turn around, he's already like kneeling and like oblation on the floor. Like he's not even listening to you guys. He's not looking at her. Like he saw her and just was like, okay. So if you're talking down and he kind of like cocks his head, like one eye towards you, is like, you guys should probably kneel too.
How far away from her are we right now?
You're quite a distance away. This court is fairly large, so you're at least probably 100, 120 feet away from her.
All right.
I figured.
Galen, good. You stay like that. That's smart of you.
No, but you guys should do the same thing. Like, don't mess around.
I won't. And I'm gonna start walking towards her.
Does Galen have any one of the 4 items with him?
I don't know if anybody gave anything to me. Who grabbed the skull?
I have the skull.
What else did we have?
The books,
That would be
whatever you grabbed.
What were the other 2?
The other 2 were things, Deadly Visions and Bathed in Holy Water.
Oh, okay. So, as long as we have the book and the skull, we should be fine. So, Galen can stay there if he wants to. Alright. Shall we then? If Galen, you want to remain here, feel free.
Yeah.
I think he's just gonna stay there.
Yeah, he's praying. So, yeah, I'm just gonna start walking forward again.
All right.
I'll walk along with him.
All right. And Marmalek?
Ditto.
Yay! All right. So the 3 of you, basically, Galen is almost frozen in reverence at the sight of the Raven Queen, and so the 3 of you begin to walk forward. And as you begin to make your way across the court, suddenly, small ravens' shadows begin to flutter in from all directions. And they basically, come around and begin to coalesce on the ground in this swirl before rising up and intercepting you just before the large stone obelisk in the middle. is a woman hooded in black, with the emblem of the Raven Queen clutching her cloak.
Is it the same one from before?
You get the pretty decent impression that it is.
Okay.
And when she finally comes into form, she bows to you.
Then stop in front of her.
I see that you have been able to get the favor of the Raven Queen. That is very good. There's many people that are not able to make it through the requirements of the pilgrimage through Zomarana. I am glad to see that you were able to.
But we've only just arrived here. We haven't even spoken to the Raven Queen.
Well, yes. I mean, if you would like, I'm sure that if you, I trust that you have brought the favors from the pilgrimage.
We have indeed. And I'm going to gesture towards Leo and Marmalek.
Excellent. So now that you have received the favor of the Queen, I am sure that at time she will be more than happy to provide you an audience.
Oh, glad to hear it. That is what we're here for, after all.
Indeed.
So, do you announce us to the Raven Queen, or are we allowed to approach? How should we go about doing this?
Oh, no. When she wants to see you, she will announce that she requests your presence.
Okay, and do we wait here until she's ready? And
If you would like, there's no really telling exactly how long that she will be, but if you would like, you can more than feel free to wait in the palace.
Well, thank you for that.
Can I hear all this?
Probably. They're not too far away from you.
So he kind of looks up while this is going on. He kind of stands up and he brushes his hands off. He brushes his knees off. She's not the Raven Queen? Oh, shit. And he just starts walking forward to the rest of the group.
And when you begin to walk, he's like, me? No, I am not the Raven Queen. He's like, but you are currently in the presence of the Queen herself. And she does actually gesture up to the figure sitting upon the throne.
And then he just throws himself back down on the floor.
When she gestures towards the Raven Queen,
Mhm.
I'm gonna kind of hold up the red skull so the Raven Queen can see it.
Okay.
And, give her a little wave.
All right.
All right. And then I'm gonna put the I'm just gonna pull the skull back down again
Okay.
to my side. Okay. Well, I don't think she saw me.
That's,
So yeah, we'll wait.
excellent.
And I'm just gonna walk over to one of the pillars and just kind of sink down onto the floor and just sit there,
Okay.
drawing little lizards in the ground. No wait, I'm just gonna
Wrong
sit there.
I'm going to turn to the one who's been speaking to us.
Yep.
You said that the Raven Queen will summon us when she is ready,
Mhm.
and that we are allowed to stay here. Is there anywhere in this palace you speak of that we are not allowed to go?
Well, there isn't much to the palace. This is pretty much it. We have the court, and there's a lovely terrace out to the north that overlooks the mountains.
Well, then I think I'll wait out there. I would much rather have at least a view of something as opposed to just sitting in a room with nothing going on.
If you wish.
I'm going to head off toward the terrace.
How about Marmaluk and Galen?
If he gets up and starts to walk away, then I'll kind of take a cautious look up towards the Raven Queen, look at the woman they were talking to, and be like, okay, I guess so.
Pretty much the same. Marm will just kind of wander off within view of everyone else, just
Okay.
kind of meandering.
Looking at all the murals and everything on the walls.
Hoping for some books.
Very nice. Unfortunately, no books. But so you guys meander about, kind of look at the terrace out of the terrace and see the outstretch into the mountains and everything, and Leo's leaning up against a pillar and probably wandering around a little bit as well. And this goes on for several hours.
Starting to get bored and probably a little frustrated.
Possibly.
I'm gonna walk back into the throne room.
Okay.
Is the speaker still there?
Yep, she's still standing in the same place.
Okay. I'm gonna walk up to her. I understand that you mentioned that there's no telling how long a wait it would be, but is there any way we could, expedite this process a little bit?
Unfortunately, the Raven Queen is somewhat busy. She does have still souls to judge, and she also, does overlook all of Zatherna.
Well, you would think that, beings like us, as you described so far, that, are strange here and shouldn't actually belong, would be of greater interest to her than her daily routine.
Oh, indeed, and she actually has put you on the top of her list.
And yet she seems to continue to do her routine as opposed to, looking at what is at the top of the list.
Oh, no, trust me. If you see, she is currently in the process of transitioning in order to be able to speak with you.
You're going to have to explain that to me in layman's terms. I'm not accustomed to the ways of your deity.
Oh, no, see, she right now is communicating with the spirits and the energies around her, so right now it's just a matter of disconnecting so that she may be able to speak and to deal with you as your more mortal self.
All right.
Suddenly you hear from behind you. Leo just goes, "Dorian, come, sit." In my experience, death cannot be rushed.
I'm going to walk over with Leo, and as we're heading over to where he was before, it's been my experience that death moves quickly enough. But this is a little different.
Yeah, just patience. Death comes to us all. Just sit. And you notice, like, Leo doesn't even have his eyes open when he's talking to you. He's, like, meditating, practically.
I'm going to lean up against the pillar and just kind of, like, watch the Raven Queen.
Okay. And throughout your watching of her, your overlook, you see that a couple of times. Right now she's sitting back in her throne, kind of leaning to one side, and then at one point she will switch hands and lean to the other, and then she'll lean back over to the other one after a little bit more time, and another several hours go by of this.
I'm going to lean over to Leo. So, how's your patience holding up? Because I got to tell you, mine's wearing a little thin.
My line of work, you need patience. So, fine.
Well, unfortunately, I was raised by dwarves. We were never patient with many things. We believed in taking action.
Oh. Learn.
Oh. So the student has become the teacher type thing, huh?
Sure.
All right. What is Galen and Marmalek doing at this point?
I look over at Gale, and he's curled up on the floor. He's sleeping.
Or at least trying to sleep. You're like,
Yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe I don't know if we can sleep or
Sleep.
not.
it's like trying to sleep when you're wide awake. You're
Right.
like, I know I should be asleep right now. It's 3 o'clock in the morning.
You know, you see him. He's laying there. He's kind of curled up on one side, and then he kind of like stretches and like turns over real quick, and he rolls to the other side, and then he lays there for a minute, and then he kind of rolls again and does the other, back to the other side.
Nice. What about Marm?
He's leaning up against the wall, reading a book,
Mhm.
as usual, but he's slowly inching towards the Raven Queen every 15, 20 minutes, just a little bit closer, trying to see a little bit more clearly, and maybe see if he can catch her eye.
Okay. And yeah, as you get a little bit closer, inching over the next several hours, it's hard to make out any detail because she does look like just to be I don't want to necessarily say a mass of shadow, but because she definitely has a very well-defined figure and outline. However, despite these well-carved edges, she is in fact almost pure black.
Cool.
So, yep. So after these next several hours, handful another hours go by. And maybe a couple more. Some more after that.
At some point, Galen will get up, be frustrated, and go up next to Marv and say, "What are you reading? Is there anything good in there? Is there anything about the Raven Queen?" Like it's like a 5-year-old kid, just a million questions.
Do you want to read it?
I don't know. What's it written in? Maybe I can read it.
Here, look. And he's going to hold the book out open for Galen and kind of hold it really close to his face, so when he leans in, he's going to clap it across his face.
Oh, whoa! Shit!
Oh,
I can't
whoa.
read it if you close it.
That wasn't me, that was the book. It must have a mind of its own. Whoa.
Was that a creepy magic book?
I think so. I just wish it had a clamp to close it. I'm just going to sit on it for now.
Okay, well, you're not going to read it anymore then?
No, I mean, if it's attacking people, that's dangerous.
Yeah, maybe we should burn it. I mean, like, what happens if we fall asleep and then the book tries to eat one of us?
I don't think I'd have too much of a problem. I mean, I think it would go for someone else first, so I'm not really that worried.
Do you think so?
Might go for the easiest target. Leo.
Oh, Leo has to say Leo's screwed.
Yeah.
I'm just ignoring them.
All right. So more hours go by, and more and more and more. What is your plan?
Waiting.
Yeah.
We don't need to eat or sleep, so
I don't know if Galen at some point would just become indignant.
You know
I
what?
don't know.
I'm wondering that same question about Dorian, so I'm going to
Sure.
do odds is he becomes indignant even if he's still patient. And he's indignant. Fair enough.
All right. What happens?
I'm going to kind of scoff and stand up
Yeah.
and start walking past the speaker.
Okay.
And I don't want to get too close. Is the throne up on a little staircase at all, or is it just at the end
It's
of the
up. It's up on a very large staircase.
All right.
Not just the fact that it's a tall staircase, but the stairs are very large.
How high up does it go, above the level floor?
Probably about 50 feet or so.
Okay. So I'm going to walk up to maybe about 5 feet away from the base of the stairs,
Okay.
and I'm actually going to take a knee,
Mm-hmm.
putting one hand on my knee and the other, my fist on the ground.
Okay.
And I'm going to speak very loudly in an attempt to make the Raven Queen hear me. My name is Dorian Almax, cleric and agnim of Pelor. I humbly request an audience with the Raven Queen.
And when you say that, I'm guessing that, with Dorian stomping off and then saying this, it kind of gets the attention of the rest of the room. And Galen and Marmalek, being that you're kind of on one side, you get a pretty good shot of the Raven Queen's helper, the woman in the cloak, and her servant. There we go. And when Dorian says this and everything, you see her kind of tilt her head up slightly, and she's looking up, almost as if she's listening, but it doesn't seem like she's listening to Dorian. And so you see her do this, her head kind of slight tilts, and then she turns around and she gives this, grand curtsy-like bow to the queen. And then she turns to the rest of you and she says, "Well, you fools, approach! The queen grants you counsel."
I look over at Leo and I look over at Marmalek. I'm like, wow, maybe that's what she was waiting for?
I just kind of shrug and start walking towards Dorian.
I follow.
So does Marm.
Slightly reluctantly.
Yep.
All right, so you approach the staircase, approach the throne with Dorian then?
Mm-hmm. I don't kneel this time.
Ooh.
I'm on the end of indignation myself,
Like,
so I'm just like,
I've bowed like 4 times already. All right.
he's kind of stands there like, hip kind of cocked, arms crossed, like, mm-hmm.
Nice. And how about the other two?
I give like a slight head bow, but that's about it.
All right.
And Marm is just kind of like, I really don't give a shit at this point.
All right. So the Raven Queen now, you see her shift position once more. And she kind of rests both arms on the throne, and she leans forward slightly. And when she does so now, you actually see that the shadow that she's been encased in kind of disappears. And now you can see her full figure. And she is actually wearing this deep black dress that is actually lined along the top, that kind of cuts from shoulder to shoulder, in these large raven-like feathers. And that pattern kind of seems to blend down into the rest of the dress. And you see that she has this very long flowing cloak that runs behind her sitting on the throne, and it kind of spills over the edge of the throne down at her feet. And her hair is just this kind of very straight but very styled and almost pure black. And all you can kind of see is that ringlet of a crown that protrudes right at her forehead that shines this very clear silver. And so when she leans forward and she finally presents herself to you, she says, and she has this kind of, somewhat deep voice that almost, rings and resonates through the courtroom. And she addresses you and says, "I understand that you were able to make the pilgrimage, and that your kind, you mortal forms, have come into the Shadowfell. I wonder, how is this?"
We have no knowledge of how it was we came to be here, Raven Queen. We sought audience with you in the hopes that you may have an explanation, or that you may at least be within your power to return us to the realm from which we came.
We have not had contact with the material plane in quite some time. Myself, as well as the rest of the gods, have been cut off, and thus we have lost contact with many of you. The spirits that I see now come in from the rest of the planes, though, as I said, those of the material have not come here in many a years.
My lord Pelor, he too has been separated for a great deal of time from the material plane. It was only through many years of patient waiting and planning that he was able to send me from Elysium into the material plane.
It's funny, you mention Pelor. It's good to see that he is still alive. I sensed his light from within. I had figured that since I had not had contact with him, that he had simply perished during the Dawn Wars. Though it seems that his power is eerily strong within you.
I was sent by him in the hopes that we might repair what it was that has cut off you and the other gods and goddesses from the material plane. When last I left, Pelor was alive, however, not well. I was sent away in the midst of battle, which he appeared to be slowly losing. And since then I have been cut off from any direct communication with him, so I know not how he fares. But he was able to empower me to the end of bringing balance and to restore the planes to what they once were.
Yes, it seems as though he has put much of his power within your soul. So it is good to hear that Pelor does exist at least somewhere within these planes.
Yeah, while Dorian's talking, Leo's just kind of looking down at him like a more and more pissed off look on his face. Just putting that out there.
Yeah. So what is it that brings you to my palace?
We wish to know how it was we came to be in this plane of existence, how long we have dwelled under the ice of your world, and if it is possible to return or to somehow from this location restore the balance that Pelor seeks.
Well, as far as your appearance into the Shadowfell, that I cannot answer you. And in regards to how long you have been here thus far, time is not a measurement at which we go by in these lands. And also, it runs not perpendicular to that of the material plane, that which you are used to. Our time is constantly maneuvering back and forth and crossing your line. So it does not run straight.
I understand, Raven Queen. It was very similar being one with the light of Pelor in Elysium. All moments in time seem to have existed together, yet we're still separate. Do you know of any way that we might leave this realm and return to where we belong?
There is no way that I can send you from the Shadowfell. However, there is a chance that you might be able to leave. There is a city, Gloomrot, to the south of here, and there is a chance that you may be able to find transit out of this plane.
Is the passage to this place you speak of safe?
The passage may be. Finding it may not. The way that you must take to get to Gloomrot is the Road of Ash. You must follow that before you get to the city. And even within, there are many perils that you must face, just in your own safety and survival, in order to find even your way around and find transit, if that is your wish.
It is. Whom would we speak to should we arrive at Gloomrot?
There are many sailors that sail the Astral Sea. I am sure that if you head to the docks, you will be able to procure passage with one of them.
You have mentioned that the way on this Road of Ash is rather dangerous and perilous. As you see, we appear before you naked and with no way of protecting or defending ourselves from whatever dangers may lay ahead. And while none of us are true followers of the Raven Queen, you have spoken as an ally of the sun god Pelor, and I humbly request, if it is within your generosity and power, that we would be permitted to equip ourselves in order to be able to traverse this path and be successful in our journey.
Power I have. Generosity is of little guarantee or requirement within the Shadowfell. However, you have taken the steps within Zvomarana of the pain and the bathing, and I can see that you do have the crystal and the book with you. You have taken the steps of the pilgrimage, and you have survived. If you wish, you may join the ranks of my Sorrowsworn. If you will, I will give you all of the power that I can.
Okay.
What exactly does that entail?
All that entails is pledging your allegiance to me. I do not
Okay.
wish...
Wow.
I understand, especially you, kind soul, the power and the connection that you have with your deity Pelor. I do not wish for you to give that up. That is what gives you strength.
If you would permit me the protection and ability to fend for myself and for my allies here in this world, I will fight for you as a champion of Pelor, for all must pass through judgment to be brought into his divine light, and you are an ally of him. In fighting in his name, I would be fighting in yours as well, but I would remain a cleric of Pelor.
If you wish.
I do, indeed, Raven Queen.
Freaking railroad.
I don't even hear it anymore, to be honest. I'm so desensitized to it.
Nice. Apparently that's the train to hell.
It's not a highway anymore. They've gone rail.
Yep.
Uh,
All right, so far I believe we have a yep from Marmalek, a couple of them.
Once Dorian finishes talking, I'm just gonna kind of look down at him, and then I'm gonna look up at the Raven Queen, and I'm gonna say, I would also be interested in learning more of your ways. Back in the material plane, I practically followed your ways anyway. If you are the goddess of death,
Oh,
'cause
you must
killed that
learn.
kid, right?
What?
yeah, funny.
I'm just saying. I mean, you said, so I'm backing you up. I'm trying to help out.
Thank you, Galen.
Well,
You-
I do what I can.
You will learn that I am not simply the goddess of death. I am the holder of fate and balance. It is not simply death that I purvey over, but it is the balance of life and death that truly matters.
I would truly like to learn more then.
Then please, if you wish, take a step, and that will show your allegiance.
Arm takes 2.
Leo takes 1.
All right.
Galen looks at everybody step forward, and he kind of looks behind him. Well, I guess I don't want to stay. I mean, if we accept, then we can get out of here, or how does this work exactly?
You can leave at any point you wish. I am not holding you here, and I have told you of the path. Whether or not you swear allegiance to me is of your own free will or not.
How do you feel about Branda Barris? He's, we're kind of, sort of.
I have no ill will towards him.
I mean, this is kind of, this is all sort of above my head. So, like, if I pledge to you, is he going to be pissed at me? Like, how does that work? Like, do you guys just kind of sort that out on your own, or?
As I said, I am not attempting to gain your favor or your soul. I am not wishing that you praise me. There are those within the planes that choose to do so. However, all I am asking is that if you wish to join my Sorrowsworn, at a point, you assist me in governing this plane. It is not for a permanent amount of time. It is as long as you wish to assist, as long as you feel, for as long amount of time as you feel is indebted.
And then what happens after that?
You are free to go.
He looks over at the other 3 guys. I don't know. What do you think? I mean, it sounds like it could be a pretty good deal. He kind of takes like a half step forward. He looks around again. He kind of takes like another half step forward. He's like, I guess so.
It is good to see that there are so many that wish to still fend for the balance of life and ensure that those who fall within death will find that in safety. Because of your specific circumstances, you will uphold your duty as Sorrowsworn. You will gain the allegiance at this point. Your end will come in time, and when that does, your duties as Sorrowsworn will begin. Until that time, though, you may refer to yourself as such. You have my blessing, and with that, I will entail the power of said bless.
Thank you.
And with that, she kind of gives a slow nod. And then now standing almost directly behind you, moving up extremely quietly, almost without a sound, is her servant, Tukalina. And she kind of taps Galen on the shoulder.
Oh, shit.
And when you turn around, she gestures behind you.
I look behind me.
All right. And when you do, you actually now see that there is a small, well, not small, but a basic-sized doorway within the large crystal that was at the center of the room.
I look at the other guys and I say, are you guys coming? Is that just for me?
I kind of turn around, and that's when I see a Tukalina. I'm like, what? Going where?
Well, obviously, you will be heading into the armory.
Oh, okay. And I'm going to turn back to the Raven Queen, and I'm going to give like a little bow. Thank you. And I'm going to walk off towards the door.
All right.
Galen rubs his hands together and he's like, all right, well, that sounds good. That's a step in the right direction.
I'm actually going to stand there for a minute.
All right. Marmalek?
Also going to stand there for a minute and then kind of inch towards the others.
Okay.
I'm going to wait for him to leave
Mm-hmm.
and turn toward the Raven Queen.
Okay.
Great.
And once you've kind of, once they've walked, Tukalina actually walks with them through the doorway.
Great Raven Queen, I wish to ask of you a question.
Please.
Long ago, before I became one with the light of Pelor in Elysium, there was another whom I had allied myself with, who came to be my best friend, and I was assigned guardianship over his life. I failed in that task, but hoped that I would meet his spirit in the next world. Yet he did not join with me in Elysium, nor did he join with his god, Moradin. I wish to ask of you if you know what has become of the soul of the Prince of Ildarin, known as Skaz Radari.
And so you see she kind of leans back on her throne and she begins to, rub her cheek slightly in thought. And she sits there for a few moments, and then she begins to get this kind of sorrowful look on her face. She says, yes, it appears his soul did for a very brief moment touch upon the shadows. Unfortunately, he is one of the several that has thus been ripped from our plane before the portal was closed. So unfortunately, his soul has not come to rest within my graves.
You said there were several who were ripped before the portal was closed?
Yes, he was but one of the first.
Do you know who these others are, or perhaps who is responsible for having their souls removed from your judgment?
I do not. Their names are many, and the chances that you would know even a handful of them is sparse. However, while I do not know exactly, and I do not have evidence who might have committed such a travesty as to unbalance the section of life and death, it stings and smells of the demon Orcus.
Orcus was the one who Pelor did battle with before sending me through to the material plane. if I were to encounter the spirit of Prince Radari, do you know of any method or means by which I might liberate his spirit so that he would be able to pass on and rest in peace?
At this point, with the portal between the material and ours closed, I shudder to think of how many spirits there are trapped within your planes. Unfortunately, no soul that has left its body has been able to make its way here in several hundred years. So at this point, with the portals closed, there is no way to release him.
Then my original mission must be my priority. We must restore the balance of the planes.
And she kind of leans forward slightly now. You have the power of Pelor within you, perhaps more than even you realize. And your mission is one of truth and one of justice. I see that you also hold within you the need for balance and the need for righteousness. While I do understand your need to hold on to your belief in Pelor, and I do not fault you for that, I believe that you and I share similar goals and similar hopes. With that, I do not request or require you to patron yourself to me. I see that your soul already belongs to Pelor, and that it would be absolutely of no use to me as one of my Saraswarns. Because of that, I will still grant you favor. If you wish, you may take up mantle. Your soul will still be yours. And at least, hopefully, with my grace, you will be able to complete your mission.
Then, by your favor, Raven Queen, I accept, and you have my eternal gratitude, as well as the gratitude of the Sun God, your ally.
And she bows her head.
And I'll bow back. My thanks, Raven Queen, and I'll slowly start to walk away.
All right. And she, as you do, kind of sinks back into her throne.
I'm going to head over to the armory with the rest of them.
All right. Okay, so you guys now have been, so the three of you have been in the armory for a little bit. And when you walk in, the room that you walk into is obviously not within the pillar. And you definitely, it's not like there's a staircase that you walk down or up or anything like that. It's just basically you walk through the doorway and you're in another room somewhere. And this room isn't particularly large, though it is certainly packed with many provisions, let's say. So when you walk in, basically, Tukalina kind of follows you through, and when you walk in, she, says, "Please, whatever you want, partake of. This is the armory of the Sarasworn. Take what you need, whatever you believe will help you along your journey."
What kind of stuff is in here?
There's clothes, armor, weapons, pretty much anything that you can put on your person is within.
I'm looking for a bow.
All right.
And at least one quiver of arrows.
All right. We'll go over that in a little bit. So
Okay.
I'll give you a pretty decent list of what's in the room. So when you do now, let's see, where is it? Right. Other page. Why don't you exist? What are you? These stupid items. All right, there we go. All right. So she also, once you, she says, all right, everything in the room is yours to pick through, and she also says, oh, I forgot, I'm supposed to give these to you, and she kind of, fumbles around underneath her cloak a little bit, and she, she pulls out 3 dark gems. And she kind of holds them out for you to take.
Okay. I kind of take one. Is it on like a chain or anything, or is it just the gem?
Nope, just the gem.
All right.
And she just says, keep these upon you, and when the time comes, the gem will do what it needs to do.
Thank you.
And she gives you this very deep, elaborate curtsy, arms outstretched.
I go to stick it in a pocket and then realize I'm not wearing any clothes again.
Alright, well, I guess we should find something with pockets to put these in.
And when she goes to turn away, she walks through the door, and Dorian, basically as you go to walk through, a Tukalina steps out, and she kind of almost runs into you.
Forgive me.
And she gives you a half bow, and she says, "Oh, here." And she reaches into her cloak, and she pulls out a very dark red gem.
Okay. Thank you.
And she gives you a bow, and at that point, her form breaks into shadow and sinks into the ground, and the raven's shadows disperse.
And I'm gonna turn to everyone else and kind of like hold up the gem. Any idea what this is for?
She told us to keep it, and it would do what it needed to do at some point.
When it was the correct time or something like that. Real quick, do all the gems look the same?
Yeah, they're somewhat varying hue, but for the most part, they're kind of different tones of red. You have some a little darker or lighter than the other, but for the most part, they're all the same.
All right. Like, how big are they, roughly?
They fit kind of just within the palm of your hand.
Okay. All right. Good to go. Then yeah, good. I'm just gonna start looking around the room for stuff then.
All right. And Dave, like I said, the room isn't that large, but it's packed with stuff. There's weapons and shields and such hanging on the walls. Suits of armor and clothing placed on racks. Almost like not like a dummy, but there's a slight form that it's hung upon.
Mm-hmm.
And various other small trinkets within cases. So trinkets.
Huh.
So in this room, I'll give you just the list going down it. Keep in your head if there's anything that strikes your fancy. So there is a large steel hammer with the shaft carved out like a large stout femur. A silver, almost white rapier with this very brilliant and precise filigree upon it. A finely crafted bastard sword that has 3 blood red gems embedded in its pommel. The blade of there's a dagger whose blade is thick and curved. There is a knife that appears to be made out of a jagged bone that seems almost too thin and frail for combat. There is a sword whose stainless steel has shadows that swirl within it, and a deep gray-blue gem that is settled within the hilt. There is a bow that is carved from a very dark wood and is tipped in silver. There's a shield that looks like a polished black pane of glass that is set in a sturdy metal frame. A heavy steel shield that has 3 skulls that jut out from the face of it. A staff made of dark twisting wood topped with a small skull. There's another staff that is made from bleached bones that have been fused together, and the head of the staff actually burns with a almost deep black fire. There is a armor that looks like it's made of this thin yet rough hide that's been dyed black. There's another suit of studded leather armor that is decorated with metal skulls. A chain shirt that has fine links that actually form the pattern of roiling clouds. A black armor breastplate that is detailed with small skulls and at its points and all over the breastplate itself. A suit of armor that is covered with dirt and grime, and it looks as though no amount of scrubbing could remove any of this. A pair of leather boots that are completely black, and they almost seem to absorb the light around them. A pair of boots made of this inky black leather that are trimmed with a crimson mane of some fiendish horsehair. A pair of thick grayish leather boots with a fur lining. Then as you kind of move along to this to the wall, there's a couple of small racks, and hanging on one is a drab gray cloak that sometimes appears to billow out, even though it's standing perfectly still. There seems to almost be this invisible wind that blows it. Another cloak that seems to be veiled in shadow, despite being completely immobile and being fairly well lit. A black cloak that hangs very snugly to the wall, almost as if it's clinging to it. A cloak that appears to be made of patches of raven's feathers, and they seem to actually be placed so loosely together that they could break apart with a single touch. Then if you move over, there's a case that's surrounded in glass with a small lid up atop, and inside that is a small ring that looks to be made out of almost pure black onyx stone. There's another thick silver ring which is engraved with the faces of pained souls. One ring that is carved from a charred bone. And finally, an ornate ring of silver that is engraved with a golden signet of the Raven Queen. So we'll go ahead and start with Al, since he's the first on my list in Hangouts. So Marmalek.
Yes.
Is there anything that caught your fancy on this?
A few things.
All right.
The white rapier.
Mm-hmm.
The bone staff with the black fire. The black boots. The ones that absorb light.
Mm-hmm.
the black clinging cloak, and the onyx ring.
All right. Said the bone staff. And let's see, sorry, you said the which boots was it?
It was the black boots that absorb light. You said that they look like they were
Yep.
the first ones, not the inky ones.
Yep. All right. It'd be all right. And then you said the cloak that seemed to cling.
Yes.
Is 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Oh. Ow. Alright. Are you it? No. Alright, and then the what was the last one?
The last one
Ring?
was the onyx ring.
Onyx ring. I believe is this one. Alright, so basically as you pick up the item, when you hold it for a few moments, you begin to get kind of an innate sense of its meaning. And so the first one is that that rapier that you pick up. So it when you do, you actually see that there's a placard, a small name tag on it. And the name tag actually says Silver Fang. And you do realize that this is a fairly powerful rapier that was made basically to hunt the undead, and to, in particular, was originally made to fight against a cabal of vampires.
Okay.
So the next thing that we will go with is that that staff. And when you clutch the staff, the head of it actually bursts into flame slightly before settling down again. And you can tell that there is inherent magic within this staff. And you know that it will allow you access to certain spells and abilities within it. Most of which that pertain to either the undead or fire.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. The next is that that cloak. Actually, no, sorry, the boots. All right. Those. So is Marmalek actually going to put them on, or are you just going to kind of look at them?
He'll put them on, I guess,
All
along with the cloak, but boots first.
All right. So basically, when Marmalek actually puts the boots on, as soon as he steps into one, and as soon as he steps into the other, he actually disappears, and then reappears about 6 feet away from where he was standing.
Huh.
And he actually ends up reappearing right next to Galen.
Oh, whoa, shit!
Hey, how's it going?
How'd you do that?
What? I just walked over here.
No, you didn't walk over there. You were put on a pair of boots or whatever. Like I was looking at this thing and I saw you bend over, but then
No, totally walked over here. You must have been paying attention to the stuff in here. There's a lot of good stuff.
There is some pretty cool stuff in here.
Yeah, I mean, I was just coming over to show you these boots. Aren't they cool?
They look pretty cool. Did you see his other pair of boots?
Yeah, I was looking around, but I like these ones. I think black's my color. It brings out the blue in my skin.
It does. It's kind of striking. It looks pretty cool.
Makes me feel pretty.
Well, I don't know about that, but
I feel pretty. All right.
okay. I mean, that's the only thing that
So
matters,
pretty.
right? As long as you like them, I guess that's what's important.
Well, thank you.
All right. Since we've gone ahead and brought Galen into the situation, let's go ahead and what caught your eye?
Well, the dagger or the rapier caught my eye, but you know, I guess I'd probably gravitate towards one of the daggers then.
Yeah.
There was two, or there was just the one with the bone handle?
There were two of them. So there was the first dagger that has that very thick curved blade, and then there's the other one that was made of bone.
Okay, I go with the curved blade.
All right. So you basically go to pick that up, and it's standing in this holder on a table, and as soon as you grab it, you can tell that this has not necessarily nefarious means, but this is definitely not something that a person of weak stomach and weak mind would wield. It almost feels as though it is something used for more sacrificial means, but you can tell that it definitely has. It can definitely be used in battle.
Okay.
And it almost looks like as if it was made to fit kind of around and through the ribs of an enemy.
All right. I look at it. I kind of get that weird feeling, and then I kind of turn it over and kind of move it around a little bit, and I'm like, I guess that'll work. And I'll look at I guess it's the cloak that's got the feathers, the feathered cloak.
Okay.
Kind of pick it up, kind of shake it out, watch how the feathers move, sort of kind of like put it up, judge it by size, and kind of spin it around real elaborately and clasp it at his throat.
Nice. And basically, as soon as you clasp it, you see, and everybody will see, that Galen and his entire form break apart into a flock of several dozen ravens. And they kind of fly around the room and then end up coming back down and coming in together about 8 or 9 feet away from where he was standing. And suddenly they resume the form of Galen again as the cloak kind of billows back down and sits back on his back.
And what do I feel when that happens? Am I fully cognizant of turning into a flock of birds? Or...
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So they come back together, and I look around. I'm like, holy shit! Did you see that? I was a bird. I was a whole shitload of birds. You see it? It was fucking cool. It's like shoot, with the birds, and I'm like flapping the cloak back and forth, like I have like the corners, and I'm like, oh man, fuck you guys. I guess the only other thing he'd have looked at was the other pair of boots.
All right. Which one? There was the let's see. There was the ones that were made of the black that had kind of the red. The crimson mane trim, and there was also the pair of gray ones that have that thick fur lining.
I guess they're the crimson ones.
All right. Let's see. Let's go up here. And once the page loads. All right, so basically as soon as you step into them, they do kind of, and same thing that happened with the cloak, once you reappeared, it kind of fits to you almost. And the boots do the same. At first they look like they'll probably be a little bit too big, but when you step into them, you realize that they actually fit really good. And when you do, you actually see that the red trim around them, that hair trim, for a moment flares and crackles with this flame before slowly dissipating again.
So when I put them on, I kind of wriggle my toes and I'm like, oh, these feel pretty good. And then the flame goes up, and I almost go to try to start to pull it off. And then the flame settles down. I'm like, and then I kind of like bring my foot up, and I'm kind of like looking at it, and like kind of like not petting the fur, but kind of like brushing at it to see whether or not there's like embers in it.
And yeah, actually, when you do, you kind of brush away a few embers, but none of the hair or fur seems singed at all, and it's not hot.
Holy shit! And then I really I just like start to pet it. Oh, fucking cool. And I'm like watching the sparks at the floor.
Nice. All right. Was there anything else that caught you?
No, I don't want to be a whore.
Okay. You're a whore, Peter. All right. In that case, we will go to Dorian. Actually, no, screw it. Dorian came in last.
That's what I figured, yeah.
There you go. Let's go over to Leo.
Wow. All right. Well,
I'm guessing first is going to be the bow.
Yeah.
Who called that? So you pick it up, and it's on this this holder on the wall, a couple of hooks, and so like I said, it's made of this carved, very dark wood, and it's tipped at the on the ends with silver, and the string of it is this very black sinew. So you get the sense that this is a very old bow. Yeah, it still seems in perfect condition. And when you pick it up, you kind of give it, a stretch, and it feels very nice. And when you kind of are passing it around, you actually come to aim slightly. You're not holding an arrow, but you aim slightly, and when you do, you come across Marmalek. And for a moment, you actually see that there's this thin, hollow red line that kind of connects from your hand at the tip of the bow straight to him. And it almost seems as though there's this semi-invisible string attaching it that disappears almost immediately as soon as you lessen your tension on the string.
Right. How far did that line go? Just from the string to the bow, or did it actually go all the way to Marmalek?
It went all the way to Marmalek.
Oh shit. Okay. I want to pull the bow up again and see what happens, and kind of point it at Marmalek.
All right. As long as you bring it to full draw, that line appears again.
Right. I want to drop it away from Marmalek and lift it up and point it at that glass jar.
Okay.
Does anything happen?
Nope.
I'm gonna aim it at Dorian and see
right.
if the same thing happens.
Yep. Once you aim it at Dorian, a line does appear.
Huh. All right. I'm just gonna kind of look at him and be like, all right, I'm gonna look at Dorian and be like, could you see that?
See what?
Watch, I'm gonna aim at Marmalek, and do you see that red line?
I see you aiming at Marmalek, but I don't see any line. Just the one you're drawing right now.
Huh. Okay. And I'm gonna lower the bow, and I'm gonna look at it all right. Are there any I'm gonna like look near it and see if there are any quivers of arrows. Nothing.
Yeah, there is a quiver of arrows that goes along with the bow.
I'm totally grabbing that then
There you
as
go.
well.
And there's in the quiver there are 20 arrows that have this very black shaft and these dark silver tips.
Good to go. And then before I put that on, I'm gonna the thick dark hide armor.
Okay. Let's see, which one was that? I believe it is this. All right. Let's see, make sure that that's the proper one. That's the first one. Yep. All right. I just want to make sure I was getting the right one.
Wow.
Yep.
Was there more than one hide armor? Or
No.
Was that the only one?
No,
Okay.
I was double checking on my list.
Okay.
So yeah, once you so you kind of look at it and it feels very somewhat supple in your hands, despite being a rough, fairly thick leather. And like I said, it's almost pitch black. And when you do put it on, it actually you see kind of the edges of yourself dissipate slightly when you first don it before you come back into existence almost.
Huh.
And when you do put it on too, you feel a little bit lighter on your feet, let's say.
All right. I'm gonna kind of like bounce up on like the balls of my feet a little bit.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna throw the quiver on my back,
Mm-hmm.
and then look around for some footwear.
All right.
I think the only ones that are left are the gray boots.
Yeah, pretty much the only ones of significant mention.
I'm gonna go throw those on just to get something on my feet.
All right. And yeah, so when you put those ones on, you actually you almost feel a slight warming in you. Like I said, this area is fairly tundrous and slightly on the more crisp side, and especially now you're God knows how many feet, hundreds of feet in the air, so obviously that's going to be a little bit cooler. So once you put these boots on, you actually do feel that they are they kind of just even you out temperature-wise.
Works.
Yeah.
And then I think the only other thing that I'm gonna grab is that silver ring with the gold signet of the Raven Queen.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna be kind of looking at Dorian as I'm playing around with it, and then I'm gonna slip it on a finger.
Nice. All right, and when you put that on, you don't get any real feeling or anything like that, except for maybe the feeling of self-grandization and almost I don't want to say traitorsness, but it's more of that, like, look who I belong to now, bitch. Like that. So. All right, is that it?
Yeah, that's it for now.
All right, and now let's go. Finally, the last one to walk through the doorway. Dorian.
All right. Let's start out with weapons. How big does that large steel hammer actually look? Is it a two-handed or?
Let me see here. Why don't you? I hate when they don't say in the description. You should give me all of the info when I click on you. Yeah, it does look fairly large.
Okay.
Something that actually, hold on, let me. Stupid loading. All right, so yeah, so while it does look like it's a pretty hefty piece of equipment, it does look like it could actually be wielded with one hand.
All right. Yeah, but the idea of it being made out of a femur doesn't really appeal to me all that much.
No, it's not made out of a femur. It's just that the handle is carved to resemble that of a femur.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, so it's still wood and partially metal. It's not like it's actually made out of bone.
All right, I'm gonna pick it up and see how it feels. See if I can
All
like
right.
swing it around effectively with one hand.
Yeah, it's actually a very well crafted and impressive weapon, and you feel like it definitely has some heft to it.
I'll hold on to that then.
All right.
Gonna look at the two shields that you had. There was one with black glass and a metal frame.
That is correct.
Does it appear to be the same size roughly as the heavy steel shield that was there?
Let me just double check. Yeah, so it is another large shield.
Okay. I want to pick that up and see, like, trying to figure out what the black glass actually is and why. Like, is this going to be durable enough to fight with, or like, what's the story with this?
Yeah, so you actually kind of, you pick it up and you're like, fucking glass, really? And you kind of knock on it a couple of times with your hand, and it feels very durable to the point where you actually take the hammer and you smack that up against it, and it takes the blows fairly well.
All right, I'll grab that because again, the skull's kind of
Freak you out a
really.
little bit.
Yeah. However, well, actually, now I want to look at that armor that was kind of covered in the dirt and grime.
Okay.
Okay.
So you can tell underneath it, so despite all the grime and dirt and everything above it, beneath is a layer of leather. So this is leather armor that's kind of encased in all of this disgustingness.
Okay, so it's not like, it doesn't look like it would be like heavy armor or anything like that.
No.
All right. Then I'm actually going to go over to the black breastplate instead.
Okay, the one with all the small details of skulls and everything on it.
Yeah, it's kind of counterintuitive, the whole me staying away from the skull thing, but it'll probably offer a lot more protection than the leather will.
Indeed, probably much more.
Yep. So I'll grab that then.
All right, and you meant the second one I mentioned, right?
Yeah,
not the one with the big skulls jutting out of the front of it, but.
I actually only remember you mentioning one breastplate.
Actually, sorry, the other one was leather. Never mind.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, so just that one then.
All right, very nice. And yep. So when you put that on, you almost get a sense of yourself being fortified, and you feel almost as if nothing could, at least nothing of evil could harm you.
Nice. All right. All the boots have been claimed.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately.
That's okay. There were two cloaks left, I believe. The gray one and the shadow veiled one.
That is correct. Yes.
The one that's kind of bellowing in the invisible wind is intriguing to me. I'd like to check that one out first.
All right. So you go and check that out, and if I can find it, not that one, not that one, not that one. Must be this one. Link open. Yep, there we go. Wow, not bad. All right. So, all right. So when you put this on, while it, you will see actually that, and the three of you can see that that as soon as Dorian dons the cloak, there's a very dark and ominous shadow that kind of crosses his face before disappearing. They're only there for a brief moment. And even like as you put it on, it kind of that wind that's kind of caught up in it kind of causes the cape to billow out slightly.
Huh. But I didn't notice anything, and like it feels like it has no effect other than flapping in the wind.
Correct.
All right. Well, this seems kind of useless.
Indeed. I'm not going to argue with you on that one.
So I'm actually, unless someone's going to say something, I'm going to take it off and try on the one that's veiled in shadow.
All right. And so with that one, you actually feel that, and the rest of you can see is that once he kind of puts it on, you're almost difficult to get a hold of in terms of vision. And every time you move, it almost seems as if your shadow and the rest of you is kind of slightly past you. It's either a little bit ahead of you or a little bit behind you when you move.
Huh. And so I noticed this, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Huh. Well, the flapping in the wind thing is kind of cool, but at least this seems to have an effect that might prove to be useful in life. So I think I'll go with this one. And then finally over to the glass case.
All right.
Of the two, I'm going to look at the thick silver ring first.
Okay. Let's double check which one that was. See, not the small ring, but the thick ring.
Yep, the one that's engraved with the pained souls.
Indeed. All right. So basically, when you look at that, like you said, you see that there's these kind of twisted, tortured faces on it, and when you spin it around to look at it, you can actually see that slowly these faces move.
I'm going to try putting it on and see if it has any effect.
All right. So when you do, you actually get the sense that this ring disrupts the natural flow, or perhaps even the unnatural flow of the undead.
Ooh. Okay, that's very appealing to me. And you know what? Because no one else tried it, I'm going to pick up the other ring and toss that on as well, see what happens.
There you go. Let's see, which one will... that will be this one here.
That is the charred bone.
Let me go ahead and open that. All right, so when you put it on, you actually get this very, very quick sense of heat that dissipates almost as soon as it kind of settles into place. And you almost feel it radiate off you for a moment before settling down.
Did it make me feel uncomfortable, or just the sense of heat by itself?
No, you just had a sense of heat about you, and you'll actually see that they're probably within a small area around you. The air did significantly increase in temperature before returning back.
Oh, for a cleric who uses fire, that's okay. So I'll grab that one as well.
All right.
And I think that's pretty much it.
I think that might be it. Yeah. Anything else that anybody was interested in?
I would look at both of the. Go ahead.
I was going to put the rapier back.
As soon as you put it down, Galen runs over and grabs it. and then he picks it up and then he looks at the dagger and he goes, "You want the dagger?"
No, I'm going to look at the the other one, the other dagger.
The bone knife.
Yeah, that one.
Okay.
So Galen's like, sheath.
And then he would also look at both of the leather armors. I don't know which one is better for the character. I think studded gives me a negative to something or another. If it's stealth or something, I forget.
Yeah.
Or something with the dex, I don't remember exactly. I don't know what the difference between leather, studded leather, and just a plain leather breastplate. Like mechanically, I don't know what the difference is.
Well, let's look that up very quickly, and I can tell you. Armor and shields. So basic leather is a +6 dex bonus, whereas studded leather is a +5.
Okay.
And then regular leather is a +2 AC, studded is a +3 AC.
Well, I guess I'd take the studded then.
There you go. All right. So let's go real quick to let's just do Al Marmalek for that bone knife.
Yep.
And let's see. So you do seem that that it does seem as though it's probably too frail to take the pressure and force of normal combat. However, that is only because this bone, and like I said, the blade in itself is made of bone, is so thin that it'll actually probably cut flesh with barely any pressure to it.
Wonderful.
And you actually get the sense that there's a very dark and slightly necrotic energy to this item.
Well, that's more my style.
Nice.
Quick question.
Yes.
The black clinging cloak.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't get to put it on. Does it make him feel funny in any way?
No, it just seems to let's see if I can find it over here again. No, so it doesn't make you necessarily feel weird, but at the same time you do get the sense that you almost feel comfortable in it, and it's giving you a sense of this odd protection to it.
Okay. And last question: the onyx ring. He picked it up, but he didn't put it on.
Okay.
What happens when he puts it on? Does he disappear? And can he see the flaming eye in the distance?
You do not disappear. However, when you put it on for a brief moment, your entire form is cloaked in shadow before coming back.
Wonderful. Okay.
And it's not just as if, you become a single large shadow, but almost as if your shadow kind of disperses before consolidating again.
Cool. And last question: are there any bags, like satchels, that he could carry?
Yeah, so off in one side of the room, there are actually regular clothes. Obviously, they're black. And so there are, red, black pants and in linen shirts, and as well as silk shirts as well, that you can don along with your armor or anything. And there are also a handful of bags and satchels.
Wonderful.
All right. So, Galen, you said that you wanted to look into a couple of the leather armors?
Yes.
All right. Were there any of them in particular that you were interested in?
Well, there was the studded leather, and then there was the leather breastplate.
Mm-hmm. I believe, let's see. So there is not that one. This one, which is the studded. And then I believe the other one was the slime covered one.
Oh, it was slimy?
Yeah. Yep. So there's Leo actually already grabbed the hide one,
Right.
and then there's the studded leather one that had that was decorated with the studs are actually metal skulls all over it, and then the other one was the leather that was covered with dirt and grime.
I guess he'd pick up the one with the studs on it first,
You know,
because it would probably catch his eye a little bit more.
a little more fancy.
Yeah, yeah.
So when you do try that on, for a brief moment, there's this subtle tone, almost as if it's far away, but you can definitely tell that it's emanating from you. These slightly off-tone howls that just kind of emanate for a few moments before disappearing.
When I put it on, I hear that I kind of look around, and then I look at them to see if they hear anything. And I look again, and I'm like, all right, well, whatever. Shadowfell.
All right.
Go
ahead.
I was gonna say, if nothing else happens, I'd kind of, I'd like flex my arms and kind of do a couple of squats to kind of check it out, and be like, well, we're here. I might as well check the other one, and then I'll look at them like, they're not looking, so nobody wants it. I might as well check it out.
All right. So you're gonna try that one on. You're gonna swap them out for a little bit.
Yep.
So when you put this on, it makes you. It's not that you feel slimy, but you feel kind of slick on the ground almost. So that moving around is very easy. Just like one subtle push of your foot, and you actually do kind of slide a few feet over.
So he kind of so he looks around again, see what they're doing, and then he kind of pushes one way, and then he kind of pushes the other way, and then he'll kind of run around in a circle a couple times, and then he'll kind of run up to Leo and is like, "Do you think this makes me? I feel like I'm really fast. Do I look any faster?" And I'll run 10 feet away, and then I'll run 10 feet back again. Did that look any quick? I mean, did it look really quick?
That did look quicker.
Quicker than before? What if I take it off and run, then what? Will I be... So let's try it out. Here, help me take this back off again.
I'll help him take off his armor.
And then I'll run back again.
All right. And you actually notice now, too, that while you begin to run, you weren't kind of concentrating on that too much when you had the armor on, but now that you have the armor off and you begin to run around, smoke actually begins to billow slightly from the boots that you're wearing.
Whoa, fuck! My feet are on fire! And I'll start hopping up and down. I'll start brushing at the boots again.
All right. And they feel cool. So.
Holy shit, that's really friggin' weird. You see that, right? And I'm pushing on, and then I look back up shit, but was I faster?
Yes. You were faster with the armor on.
With the armor on.
Yeah. And I'm holding it with 2 fingers.
I'm well, when I had the other one on, I heard something when I put it on. I don't know what to... You think... What if I put them both... No, I can't put them both on. That doesn't make any sense.
They're not bucklers.
He doesn't know that joke.
So he takes the armor back from me, and he just kind of sits down on the floor. And he's got one in one hand and one in the other, and he's just kind of looking at one and looking at the other, back and forth. He'll be there for at least the next 15 minutes.
Nice.
All right. While Leo is screwing around with Kalian, I actually want to walk over and pick up that sword that had the swirls of shadows and the blue gems.
Okay.
What kind of sword is it? Like, can I tell? Like, short sword, long sword.
Longsword.
All right, I'm gonna grab the sword,
Okay.
walk over to Leo, and hold it out to him. Take this.
Okay.
Your bow will only do its job when your enemy is at range. Once someone comes up to meet you, you're gonna need something else to defend yourself with. So,
Thank you.
don't thank me. You can thank your new goddess.
True. And I'm just gonna take the sword from him.
And at any point, did Dorian kind of unsheath it and look at it, or did you just like hold it up by the sheath, be like, "This is a long sword," and hand it over to Leo?
Nope, just grabbing it and tossing it to him. I personally have no interest in the blade.
That makes sense.
So, yeah, I'm gonna attach the sheath to like my belt,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm just gonna like draw just to like test the weight of it.
All right. And it does feel very light in your hand. And when you draw it, and kind of when you begin to test it slightly, for a few seconds you hear a hum, but it's not in your ears. It almost feels as if it's kind of in the back of your head.
Okay. And I'm gonna like sheath it and like take my hand off. And is the hum gone?
It is.
I'm gonna like draw it again. Does the hum come back?
It does not.
Huh. All right. And I'm gonna sheath it again. And then real quick, I just want to grab that last cloak that's left.
All right.
Just kind of throw it over my armor.
Do you have any idea which one's left?
It is the drab gray cloak that billows with an unseen wind.
Ah, the one that Dorian grabbed and was like, meh, and put away.
Exactly.
All right. All right. And so when you grab it too, like I said, it does kind of have a slight billow about it. And when and the three of you can see, and now Dorian kind of sees, that this shadow does cross Leo's face when he first puts it on, but only for a moment.
What the hell was that?
Cloak.
No, across your face.
My nose.
I'm gonna walk over to him and actually like grab him by the collar. And like look at him right in the face. Some shadow crossed in front of your face. Did that happen with me?
Oh, when you put the cloak on?
Yes.
I honestly, no idea. I wasn't really paying attention when you put the cloak on. I was looking at my new bow.
I'm gonna let him go and just kind of like shake my head in disappointment at him.
Because I wasn't intently watching you every moment.
Wait, are you actually saying this in game?
Oh god, yeah. I didn't see no unicorn.
We're supposed to be allies. Yes, I would expect you to watch over me and the others just as I watch over all of you.
Yeah, well, it's kind of physically impossible for me to watch all three of you every second of the day. I don't have eyes all around my head.
And that's why there are four of us to share in that responsibility, Leo.
Alright, so ask one of them if they were watching you when you put the cloak on.
Arm is facing the wall, looking at all the bags, and he's grabbing each bag and he's kind of punching into the bottom of it to try to see if there's a much larger area than you would expect. And he's been listening kind of out of the corner of his periphery to this, and he just goes, "It probably happened to you too, Dorian. Take it easy. We're all getting new shit here. Just be happy that you have something." And he goes and he punches through the bottom of another bag.
Just gonna scoff and walk away and just get the rest of my stuff ready.
Okay.
Ugh. It'd be so easy to find out what that red line does.
All right. So the rest of you, I'm guessing, kind of finalize your layers now that you have everything that you need. I'm guessing that you all want shirts and pants.
Yeah, like clothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
regular clothing to
Mhm.
put under your armor so it doesn't chafe.
Yeah.
Well, a
Honestly-
linen shirt, no pants.
No pants still? Okay.
Linen shirt, no pants.
Linen shirt, no pants. I like it.
Can I just make sure I have like a pair of like rudimentary boots so that I'm not freezing out there?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, you all are able to get your layers together. So you have your first layer of clothes, then you have your armor, and then you have your cloak and all your weapons and everything like that now. And now one thing I forgot to mention before is that there's only one door in this room, the one that you entered through.
Okay. Oh, real quick, like before we leave,
Mhm.
I want to grab one of the bags that Marm hasn't destroyed yet
Okay.
to carry the different things. If there's like not even like a backpack, just almost like a belt pouch to carry
Okay.
the crystal skull that I have in that like gem that we were given.
Right on.
Yay.
All right.
Yeah, probably grab the bag too.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. So you guys are fully equipped now. So what are you gonna do?
Walk back out the door.
All right.
Out of the armory or out of the building altogether?
Well, we got to go out of the armory to walk out of the building, so we may as well see if we have any, final words of wisdom from the Raven Queen.
Okay. Yeah, because I had to stop there at least to thank her.
All right. So as you guys, so you walk out of the armory, and you expect to find yourself in the court of the Raven Queen. Instead, you walk out, and you find yourself at the base of the palace tower. And standing just a few feet off is a Tukalina.
Okay. That was unexpected. Any chance we can see the Raven Queen one more time before we leave?
I'm sorry, but she is very busy.
Okay. Well,
But she sent me to make sure that you have found what you need within her armory and to see that you are put in the right direction along your journey.
Can you give her our thanks and express our gratitude for her benevolence?
I will indeed.
real quick, just one last quick question before we leave. I'm gonna hold up my hand with like the Raven Queen ring on it.
Mhm.
Like, will it be a good thing or a bad thing if I show this symbol in that city we go to, Gloomrot?
It all depends on who you see. There are those that understand the power of the Raven Queen and understand that she is the one that rules over this realm. There are others that resent her for it.
All right, well, good to know. Then I won't exactly flash it around. So, which direction?
And she steps kind of to the side slightly and gives a gesture. And she says, if you travel south of Latherna, past the base of the temple, there you will find the Road of Ash that will take you to the City of Midnight. The road is very tricky, but I'm sure if you keep your head down and you continue to walk, as long as you make sure that you do not get in the way of any spirits, you will find your way.
All right. Wait, did you say the City of Midnight?
Yes, that is one of the many names of Gloomrot.
Oh, okay. I was confused. I thought you were pointing us in the direction of the wrong city for a moment.
I would never do that. You are brethren. You are Sorrowsworn. So am I. We
Well,
are brothers and sister.
okay then. Good to know.
Galen kind of like starts a little bit and he looks up and he says, there's not like 10 paths that cross this path like how we got here. Like, is this path marked all the way out to where we have to go?
The Road of Ash is peculiar. You will come to intersections here and there, though I'm sure as long as you keep your face south, you will find your way.
I lick my finger and I hold it up, like test for the air. I'm like, south. All right, got it.
She kind of then gives you a deep curtsy. She says, "May the favor and blessing of the Raven Queen always be with you."
He steps forward and he does like a real elaborate bow and he reaches out and takes her hand if she'll let me, and I kiss her hand.
All right.
I'm going to kind of grab him by the back of the collar and be like, come on, let's go.
He looks back at her and winks and he just shrugs.
Jeez.
Thank you for the assistance, and thank the Raven Queen for us.
I shall.
As you're dragging me away, I kind of like over my shoulder, I'm like, do they have an inn there? Do they sell meat there?
And as you kind of look back over your shoulder, you see the flutter of ravens disappear.
I grab the edges of the cloak and I think that to turn into a raven, and I'm like, it's probably not worth the effort. He just lets the end of the cloak just kind of drop back down.
Nice. All right. So go ahead.
Looks like south it is.
All right. Any objections?
Nope.
Nay.
All right. In that case, you begin to walk south.
Yes.
And we'll go ahead and end that there.
Okay.
Alrighty.
What I do want to do is actually go over what you guys have in detail.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Hold on, let me go ahead and quickly highlight all my stuff.
Just to give you the heads up, I'd have taken the studded leather.
Yep.
You eventually settled on studded.
I forgot about that. All right.
We're walking along, suddenly Galen looks down. Shit, I forgot to choose.
Oh, alright. I don't need to highlight that, actually. Alright, so we'll go one at a time. Go down my list. So, Dave, you grab that hammer.
Yep.
Alright. So that is a warhammer known as Marrow Cracker.
Huh.
You'll be able to find it in the SRD if you want details. But it is a +2 mighty cleaving warhammer.
Awesome.
And whenever the wielder confirms a critical hit against a corporeal creature with a skeleton, the creature struck takes 1d4 points of strength or dex damage. Your choice.
Awesome.
All right. Let's see. Next, Galen took the rapier, Silverfang,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
All right. So Silverfang is a +1 undead bane mithril rapier.
Ooh. All right.
It has a cool little story behind it. You'll be able to find, if you want to look up the details in the future. Silver Fang is on the SRD.
Okay.
It also, so along with that, it gives you a +2 resistance bonus on all saving throws against negative energy and level drain.
Ooh.
And whenever you have to make a fortitude save to recover from a negative level, you roll twice.
Nice.
Also, once per day, you can target an undead creature. It has just successfully crit and hit it with the Halt Undead effect.
Ooh. Okay.
All right, and that's that. Let's see. Nobody grabbed the bastard sword.
Nope.
So, Galen, you have the curved dagger, right?
Mhm. Yep.
So that is a +1 dagger.
Nice.
And it is actually called the Heart Ripper Blade.
Oh, jeez.
Yep. It's actually used in sacrifice.
Okay.
Whenever you deliver a coup de grace,
Okay.
it pulls the victim's heart out.
Nice.
Jesus.
That needs to happen at some point.
Now this is where it gets a little iffy.
Okay.
You can decide whether or not to do this or not. You can eat the heart.
Oh.
Oh God.
You gain remove disease,
Wow.
restoration, and cure serious wounds.
Wow.
Yep. You can also utter a command word, and
Mhm.
it causes the heart to burst into flames, at which point the dagger becomes a +2 flaming burst dagger for 1 hour.
Holy shit. All right.
Yep. It also has a neat little effect of you can speak a second command word, and the heart begins to boil in smoke, and breathing in the smoke gives you a glimpse of the future, granting you the ability of divination or scrying.
All right.
So
Let's
the
see.
party drunkard can now see the future.
Basically, yeah.
I'm sure you can, Galen.
No, seriously, guys, there is a fucking huge demon over there. Is it a pink demon? Does it look like an elephant?
Maybe I'll take that bottle.
All right, Marmalek, you grab that bone knife.
Yep.
All right, so that is the bone razor. So while it is pretty much ineffective during combat, you can use it to perform a coup de grace on a helpless creature. It has to be living. And the creature immediately dies from the attack. And when he does, the creature's flesh begins to peel off and its bones animate.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So,
So,
ineffective in combat, just like Marm.
Yep.
So it's pretty justified. Okay,
Yep.
cool.
But you now, if you use it this way, you do have a skeleton under your command. So the flesh isn't destroyed, but does decay at a steady rate. And the bearer of the razor can spend 1 minute reattaching the flesh to animate the skeleton. Yep.
So it's basically a zombie.
No, it becomes the person again.
Oh.
So it ends the necromantic magic and results in a normal corpse.
Okay.
So
okay.
the person is dead, but there's not a skeleton walking around anymore.
Wonderful.
Yep. And let's see, Bessie, you took the longsword?
I did.
All right. Now, unfortunately, there is no link to this one.
Okay.
So get a piece of paper or a Word document.
Already open.
There you go. Okay, so the sword that you have right now is the Sorrow's Blade. It is a +1 longsword. and you're going to kind of hate me for this, but this is kind of hilarious. It deals 1d10 psychic damage.
Wow.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
And the whoever is hit with it is marked until the end of the wielder's next turn. And that person takes -2 to attacks against any other creature other than the one that it attacked.
Alrighty.
As an immediate action, when a target dies after being killed with the Sorrow's Blade, the wielder can choose to regain hit points equal to half of the damage dealt. And you can do this 3 times a day.
Okay.
All right. You also grab the bow, which, again, does not have a link. But it is the Deathless Bow.
What is it? The
Deathless.
Deathless?
Yep, Deathless Bow. It is a +2 composite longbow.
Now, is that a +2 as in I add +2? It's like a...
It's a magical +2.
Okay. What's the composite?
+2?
+2 as well?
I don't know. What's Leo's strength? I think it was
+2.
+2, right? Yeah, so let's go +2.
Okay.
It's magic.
Okay. Yay.
Now, it has 2 abilities. The first one is Vital Aim. So while the wielder has temporary hit points, it crits on an 18 to 20.
Jesus.
Yep. And as an immediate action, you can gain temporary hit points equal to damage dealt.
Say that again one more time?
So as an immediate action,
Yeah.
you can gain temporary hit points equal to as much damage as you just dealt.
Okay.
So now remember that is that's not regular, that is temporary hit points, so those don't stack.
hmm
So basically, if you hit them once and you do 5 damage, you can take that temporary hit points. But then your next round, if you hit him for 7, it's not like you now have 13. You don't have 12 hit points now. You have 7.
7. Okay.
Yeah. So the higher number replaces the previous one.
All right. And how many times a day can I do that? Or is it just every attack?
Yep. Every attack.
Jesus. Alrighty then.
That's because unlike the longsword, the longsword is regular hit points.
Yeah.
Whereas
Okay.
so that's why you can only do that 3 times a day. Whereas the bow is only temporary hit points. So.
All right. Now, is the 1d10 psychic damage, is that part of the 3 times a day?
Nope. That's on attacks.
On attacks. Okay. Good to go. All
So
right.
that's just an extra 1d10 psychic damage.
All right. Good
All right.
to go.
Dorian, grab that glass shield.
Yep.
All right. So no link on this one.
Okay.
This is the Twilight Shield. It is a +1 large shield.
Yep.
And as a standard action, you can create create an aura of partial concealment until you move. And you can do this once per day.
Okay. Shield +1 large. Standard action, create partial aura of concealment when you move once per day. Cool.
Well, aura of partial concealment.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
So basically, as if it kind of, the you can play it off however you want.
Fair enough.
All right. Next was the bone staff.
Yep.
Bone staff. All right. So this is the Staff of Dark Flame. It is on the SRD.
Okay.
It is a staff that can be used as a +1 flaming quarterstaff. And it does retain that property even if all the charges of it are drained. And speaking of charges, you are able to cast the following spells with the staff. So you have 1 charge of False Life, 1 charge of Ray of Enfeeblement, 1 charge of Scorching Ray, 2 charges of Fireball, and 3 charges of Animate Dead.
Ooh.
All right, let's go down here. So that's the staff. Bessie, you got that hide armor?
Yes.
All right, that is cat skin leather.
Right.
So it is a pair. So it is +1 shadow leather armor. So it's actually not hide; it's just leather.
Motherfucker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although with this one there is no armor check penalty and there's no max dex bonus. You do get a +5 bonus to acrobatics, and you only take half of any falling damage. So that's nice. Also, as a bonus, so when the wearer's hit points would be reduced to a negative amount equal to her con score. So basically, if you would die, right, the armor falls to pieces and is destroyed, but the wearer takes only half damage from the attacker's spell.
And now is that only on a spell or anything?
Attacks as well.
All attacks.
So it's
Okay.
basically on anything that would cause you damage. If it's gonna kill you, you only take half that damage, but the armor is destroyed.
Okay.
So it's basically a saving grace.
Good to go.
Mm-hmm. All right. Dave, let's see. You took that black breastplate.
Yes.
All right. No link for you.
Okay.
So this is Ebon armor. It is a +2 breastplate.
Mhm.
You get necrotic resistance +5. And also, when an enemy dies that is adjacent to you, you get 2d4 temporary hit points.
Sweet.
You know what? Actually, I'm going to change that.
Okay.
I don't like the way that
1d2.
works.
Okay.
I'm going to change that to 2d4 hit points, not temporary.
Okay, so it'll heal me.
Yes, basically.
Nice.
I like
Cool.
that better. All right, Galen,
Yes.
you took the studded leather.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that is a suit of +3 studded
Holy
leather
shit.
armor. Yep. And this is actually, so this is Howling Skull armor, and it is on the SRD.
All right.
As a standard action once per day, you can command the skulls to unleash a cacophonous chorus of howls, causing all creatures within a 30-foot spread to make a DC 16 will save to avoid becoming frightened. The wearer may choose up to 3 targets plus himself in the area of effect to be exempt from the effect.
All right. That's convenient.
Indeed. You also gain a +4 bonus on all saving throws against fear.
Nice.
And each time the wearer of the Howling Skull armor succeeds at a saving throw against fear effects created by someone other than himself, he gains a +2 bonus on will saves for 1 round.
Sweet.
Cool. All right. Let's see. We're gonna work our way down. Nobody took the grimy armor.
Mm-mm.
The boots with the red fur trim.
Yep.
Those are nightmare boots. They are on the SRD. They actually are made of the hair of nightmares.
Okay.
The black horses with fire for manes.
Hmm.
When the wearer runs or charges, smoke issues up from the boots, acting as concealment. When the wearer provokes, so it's concealment when you provoke an attack of opportunity.
Okay.
Secondly, 3 times per day as a swift action, you can make the boots smoke, which grants concealment until the end of your turn.
Okay.
And then lastly, when the wearer hits a creature with a melee attack, she can command the boots to ignite. When the boots ignite, all creatures within 5-foot radius take 2d6 points of fire damage.
Sweet.
Yep, DC 13 to halve the damage.
All right.
Yep.
Not too shabby.
Indeed. All right, next we have who took the gray thick-furred boots? That was
Leo. Yep.
All right. So those are the boots of the Winterlands on the SRD. You can travel across snow at a normal speed and leave no tracks. The boots enable you to travel at normal speed across the slipperiest ice, only horizontal surfaces. And finally, the Boots of Winterlands warm the wearer as if she were affected by the Endure Element spell. So you basically get Endure Elements for free.
Good to go.
All right. Who took the completely black boots? Were those Marmalek?
Yes.
All right. So if you didn't notice before, you can teleport. As a standard action, you can teleport up to 15 feet, but you must end this teleport adjacent to a creature or object that is small or larger.
Small or larger.
Yep. So it has to be at least small.
Okay.
So Galen or bigger.
Okay.
All right. And Leo took the billowy cloak.
Correct.
All right. Once per day, you can use Doom, which causes a death-like shadow to cross your face for a moment.
Jesus.
Yep. So Doom, let's see. The spell fills a single target with a feeling of horrible dread that causes it to become shaken.
Alrighty then.
Also, because it is so, this item is an item of the Raven Queen, and because you worship her, once per day you can use False Life. While False Life is active, if you coup de grace a dying foe, your temporary hit points from the spell increase by 1. And the dispatch creature must have at least as many hit dice as you for this effect to occur. You're all about the temporary hit points, huh?
Apparently.
Yep. So, False Life. You harness the power of Unlife to grant yourself a limited ability to avoid death. While this spell is in effect, you gain temporary hit points equal to 1 plus 10. Not bad. All right. Who took the hugging cloak?
That'd be me.
Actually, hold on one sec, Cloth. That is... All right. So this one does not have a whatchamacallit, a page.
Okay.
So this is the Sneaks cloak. When you are hit when you hit an enemy with a melee or ranged attack, while you have cover or concealment, the creature treats you as invisible. And this is until save ends, so it is a DC 18, basically. A DC 18 will save for them to break out of that.
Okay.
All right. Dave, Agnum took the other cloak, right?
Yep, the one veiled in shadow.
Yep. So no page. You're all about the no page shit. So this one has no page either.
Uh-huh.
It is the Cloak of the Shadow Thief. So as a minor action, until the end of your next turn, each enemy that you have any concealment or cover against grants an additional +4 on your next attack. So basically, if you have concealment against it, you gain an additional +4 against your attacks,
Nice.
or towards your attacks.
Sweet.
All right. Balin took the Raven's Feather Cloak, right?
Yep.
All right. So no link on this one.
Okay.
This is the Cloak of Ravens.
Okay.
So as a standard action, enemies are slowed and the wearer gains cover until the end of your next turn, and you can use that 3 times a day.
Cover.
So it's basically as if, like the feathers in the cloak kind of break apart and they're slowed in the area around you.
All right.
And also, as an immediate action, you can assume the form of a flock of ravens traveling up to your speed. While in this form, you are insubstantial. And the
Nice.
form ends at the end of your movement. And you can use that once per day.
Okay.
And we won't count the initial one up in the armory as that once per day. Don't worry.
Okay.
All right. Who took the dark black ring?
I think it was me.
I think it was Marmalek. So with this one, it is no link. It is the Shadow Band. And as a minor action, you can gain total concealment until the end of your next turn, and you can use that 3 times per day. And let's see. Dorian took both the silver ring, right?
Yep, and
the
the
bone
charred
ring.
bone. Yep.
Yep. So the silver ring is the Ring of the Grasping Grave. That's on the SRD.
Okay.
You can make a melee touch attack against an undead that is no more than one size category larger than yourself, and you cut it off from undying energy. You never suffer any ill effects from, let's see, you suffer no ill effects that might occur from coming into contact with an undead creature touched in this way. So like wraiths, if you touch them, you're supposed to get negative levels.
Oh. thanks.
So if you use it in this effect, that won't happen.
Okay.
On a successful hit, or touch in this case,
Yeah.
the undead cannot be healed or aided by the effects of negative energy for 1d4 rounds. And during this duration, positive energy affects the undead creature normally.
Nice.
So they basically can't be healed at all or anything. You can still harm them with positive energy.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one is the Ring of Retribution. This one is also on the SRD. Once per day, the wearer of this charred bone ring may, as an immediate action, cause it to detonate in a 30-foot radius burst that deals 10d6 points of fire damage.
Okay.
Yep. Listen, if
Uh-huh.
the wearer is killed by the detonation, all
okay.
magical equipment he carries must also save or take fire damage, and all non-magical equipment takes this damage with no save. The explosion never destroys the ring.
Oh, Jesus Christ. So this is like a last-ditch effort, like fucking, like, kamikaze ring.
Kind of, yeah.
Jesus.
Yep.
All right.
All right. And Leo took the last ring.
Yeah.
All right. So this is the Ring of the Ecclesiarch. This is on the SRD, and Ecclesiarch is spelt with 2 C's. Like I couldn't make it more difficult on you. Now let's go ahead and do this. Boop.
Hey, I was like, yeah, how do you spell the rest of it?
So it is it's a sanctified silver ring engraved with the gold signet of the Raven Queen. The ring can be used to seal parchments or to mark any surface as the arcane mark spell. The wearer is marked as a scholarly leader of the faith and gains a +5 bonus on diplomacy and knowledge religion checks. Look at you giving Marmalek a run for the money.
Whoa.
You don't have the leadership feat, so that doesn't matter. Once per day, the wearer of the ring can use prayer and enter image, often using the latter power to speak and observe through portraits, statues, and even minted coinage bearing their likeness.
That's creepy.
Yeah. And yep. And finally, for all four of you, that gem that you were given. It's on the SRD. It is the Black Soul Shard. So the gem attunes itself to the soul of the bearer. Let's see. If separated from the bearer for at least 1 day, the gem loses its attunement. If the bearer gains one or more negative levels, the Black Soul Shard absorbs one of these negative levels into itself, negating the effect. The Black Soul Shard can only absorb a negative level if carried by the person it is attuned to. If an attuned Black Soul Shard is used as an additional focus component for raising the attuned creature from the dead, the negative level cost of being raised is 1 less than normal. Absorbing a negative level destroys the portion of the soul within a Black Soul Shard. This does not harm the creature, but requires re-attuning the gem. And you can only have 1 Black Soul Shard attuned at a time.
Cool.
So basically protects you from negative levels.
Nice.
Well, that'll come in handy if we ever get rezzed.
Indeed.
Well, it sounds like we have a lot of undead things coming up shortly. I'm just throwing that out there.
Well, you guys are in the Shadowfell. So, all right. Any comments, questions, concerns?
Not at the moment.
That's a shitload of magical stuff,
It is.
Yeah.
which is cool.
Yeah.
And you guys have 2 weeks to make sure that you understand how it all works.
Right.
Yeah, I have a note here. I have to update everything.
Yeah. The good thing is you guys are probably going to have the most full character sheets that anybody has had in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need to understand what being treated as invisible does.
It's basically as if they can't see you. So
Like
they
a-
are.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say in 4E, it's a -5 to hit.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So in this, it's they're flat-footed against you. You basically their dex doesn't count and all that kind of stuff. I'm not even sure if they can actually. I think it might even be higher than with 4E. I think it might be a -10.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Just trying to figure out at what point I can actually coup them, and I would just love to find some very large creatures that I have to kill, and then coup something that's enormous, so I have a giant skeleton.
Unfortunately, you can only coop something when it's helpless.
Yep. So we'll just have to have everyone else beat it down to unconsciousness.
There you go.
And
Or just
and then-
pin its arms around its back.
And then once you get
Really
ready to deliver the killing blow, we'll have to rock, paper, scissors for it.
I want his skeleton. Well, I want his heart.
I mean, does he need his heart?
Actually, I do with that dagger.
And unfortunately, both of your targets need to be alive during the sacrifice process.
Mhm. How did I get all the fucked up evil stuff?
Now you have to decide when the time comes that Galen eats a human heart.
I don't know.
A still beating. It actually says in the description that the heart is still beating.
I don't know. I don't know. That's a stretch. I don't know if he would do that, but causing it to burst into flames, I can see that happening.
Right.
but we'll see what happens.
See what lengths he's pushed to in this these next times.
Because I could see him going with the rapier for sure, because it'd be similar to the dueling swords that he had, I guess.
Indeed, yeah.
So.
Or the rapier in one hand and the dagger in the other.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
Yep. You can be a musketeer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good job, guys.
It was fun.
Indeed.
You managed to get the favor of the Raven Queen. Which I liked how quickly Marmalek was like, I'll do it. Here, this guy.
I mean, do you understand the reasoning behind him wanting to all of a sudden have an ally here?
Oh yeah.
Okay, all right. Because that's the only reason that he was all for it. Was as soon as you described the way back, he was like, "Fuck this."
All right.
And then Leo being kind of a douche towards Dorian.
I got to admit, I actually did not see that coming.
Really?
Not the douche part, but him being like, yeah, fuck it, I'll join the Raven Queen. Like, that totally came out of nowhere.
Nice.
Well, if you think about it, he's not exactly too happy with Paylor right now.
I don't know that.
And, basically he sees that Paylor let his champion die, and I watched you burn in front of me, and then while you're talking to the Raven Queen, you're like, yeah, no, I haven't spoken to Paylor since I came here, and the entire time before we died, and you were, like, teaching me about Paylor, you were like, oh, yeah, no, he talks to me all the time. You obviously don't pray hard enough, and that's why you don't hear him. That's why I was like, fucking
to be
douche.
fair, that was during douchebag Agnum.
Right? No, that was even during, regular Agnum.
Yeah.
When he was like, oh, yeah, no, Paylor talks to me all the time. You gotta pray harder.
But I never claimed that I spoke to him.
That's a good point. Well, no, you spoke to him. He never spoke back.
Yes, as far as like the character is concerned.
Yes.
But the way I always spoke about it was that I can't speak directly to him, but I am still inspired by him and his blessings. So he speaks to me, but I never made it clear how he does speak to me.
Yeah, you were always just like, yeah, no, he totally speaks to me.
Yeah.
Douche. That's why I was like,
Go check
fuck
him.
you and your god, I'm going to this one.
Oh.
He actually does talk to me, motherfucker.
All right. I think we will call it there
All right.
for a second time.
Yeah.
I have a nice drive into Boston tomorrow morning, so this should be fun.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Yeah, a little bit.
What's going on in Boston?
Hold on, let me stop broadcasting for a moment. Bye, people.